Knowing when and how to prepare for the holidays on Etsy is a tough one, but there is a reason why the big retail companies start early. If you're a new Etsy seller, or if you are thinking about starting one, or even if you've been around for a while and just want to do this holiday season better, I have 6 semi-controversial tips for you on how to do the holidays on Etsy and a bonus tip at the end, so stick around. Howdy friends, my name is Abby and this is Type 9 Studio, where I give you tips on running an Etsy shop and a small business. There's no time to waste, let's get into it. Last year was really my first full-on holiday season on Etsy. I've been running my shop for about 5 years, but my sales really only started picking up and it became my full-time thing over a year and a half ago. So I had to learn pretty quick because it wasn't just a steady climb. It was like nothing, boom. I thankfully didn't have many inventory issues last year and my sales were pretty in line with the rest of the year for the most part. There were definitely things that I could have done better and things that I was not prepared for. Tip number 1, be mentally prepared. So most shops will want to start thinking about the holidays around July. Yeah, sorry. Then you really want to buckle down and start working in August. That'll give you 2 whole months while we're still in the slow season. That'll all depend on your niche. Some niches don't do much for the holidays, so you'll seem to get an idea. Like if you do spring gardening type stuff, then you probably won't get many sales for Christmas. But just stuff like that. Each niche is completely different. But for the vast majority, it kind of follows this same pattern. Then if you do things like local craft shows or if you have holiday and Christmas themed products, you'll want to start even earlier. I know people personally in real life who do craft shows and sell Christmas themed things, and they start in March or April. But they don't do Etsy, they do craft shows, so that's slightly different, but this gives you an idea of how early you need to start. The 4th quarter, which is October, November, and December, is the biggest for sales in the entirety of the retail world, and Etsy is no exception. People come to Etsy during these months for handmade, unique gifts and to support small businesses. From what I've noticed, this influx of traffic is usually from people who don't really use Etsy other times of the year, or maybe don't have much experience purchasing from small businesses. So last year, with the shipping delays and the post office not scanning packages, the government sabotage of the USPS, reduced staff because of the you-know-what, all that was a nightmare for small businesses. Even if you aren't a seller or don't ship things yourself, you probably noticed last year that things were very, very slow and the tracking was never updating and packages were getting lost. It was chaos. I remember the pictures people sent of the USPS sorting centers, and there were just floor to ceiling piles of packages. And during last holiday season, around Black Friday to Christmas, Etsy actually updated their website to put notifications on each product page, and even I think on the home page of Etsy, saying that there were shipping delays and to expect longer delivery times, but it didn't seem to help much. So hopefully this year will be better in that regard for many reasons. So be prepared to answer the same questions over and over again. Here's a few that I got almost every day. So you can't see more information on the tracking page than they can because you have the same link. Your processing time is the time it takes for you to mail the order and not for the time it takes to be delivered. And also, if they order on December 23rd, it will not arrive on time for Christmas. And then going along with this, USPS and other shipping carriers will put out their estimated cutoff times for Christmas delivery. And I think Etsy will send this in an email as well once they get that from the shipping carriers. But I usually add a few days to this as my suggested last day to order. But I would never, this is my suggestion to you, never promise order delivery any time of the year. Just say that orders are currently taking X amount of days, or orders usually take this amount of time, but due to shipping delays and the pandemic, I can't guarantee. A big issue that we had last year was people trying to get refunds because their order was late. I put in my order confirmation and my shop announcement that I'm not responsible for delays from the shipping carrier, and that seemed to help, and also people got a lot of negative reviews about that on their Etsy shops, and Etsy was taking those reviews down if you reported them, so just keep that in mind if that happens again this year. My second tip is to have enough supplies, so like your shipping supplies, product materials, anything else you need to operate. And that also includes backup, like if you have tools that you use. So I always try to have backup like rotary cutter blades because I cut fabric and extra sewing machine needles, stuff like that, just in case something goes wrong and I need one like last minute. Because like I mentioned, shipping slows down around the holidays and your supply orders could take a long time as well, especially if they ship from overseas. So don't go crazy and order like way more than you would normally use, but keep in mind that most shops sell more in the fourth quarter than they do in the first 3 quarters combined, especially if you have like highly giftable items. If you've been open for a few years or even just a year for the holidays, take a look back through your orders around last holiday time and see what kinds of items you sold the most. Which brings me to the third tip: capitalize on your best sellers to add more products. You want as many listings in your shop as possible because more listings equals more chances for sales. If you want to know what kinds of items to add, look at your best sellers and see how you could expand on those to make more options or to make bundles with them. Like if you notice that people are commonly ordering 2 things together, maybe make that a bundle listing. A pro tip that I have just recently learned myself, this is a gold mine. I saw it from somebody else on TikTok and I cannot remember their name. But I have found quite a few new products this way. So this kind of only works if you have decent amount of sales already, but just keep this in mind. If you don't have a lot of sales already, keep this in your back pocket, you know. So if you go into your shop manager, then you click on marketing, and then at the top it says search analytics. This will show you exactly what people search to find your listings. Okay? So if those search terms aren't exactly what your product is for, there's your new product. A specific example from my shop, I have scrunchies, and I noticed that people were searching for cow print scrunchie and getting to my shop because I had scrunchies with cows on them, but not necessarily like cow print. So I added cow print scrunchies. Number 4, prep as much as you can now. I'm filming this toward the end of August, so if you're watching this at a different time, basically I mean start prepping like toward the end of your slow season. Most shops are slow in the summer months from May to August or September, and this is the time to get your prep work done. You're going to be busy filling orders and answering messages from people who don't bother to read the item description from October to December and into January when people spend their gift cards. So you can cut down on your processing time and also prevent yourself from getting behind by prepping ahead of time. So if you have shipping boxes that you could pre-assemble, bundles to wrap, stuff to paint, do as much ahead of time as you can. If your products are not customizable or don't really have to be made to order, then make them ready to ship. Or if you do customize the listings, then do as much as you can ahead of time. So all you have to do is add the name or the photo or whatever else you do to the item. During the slow season this past year, I made everything to order, and now I wish I hadn't because it's going to take me more time to rebuild my stock because I basically don't have anything ready to ship. So number 5, let's talk about pricing. I'm actually going to make an entire separate video all about pricing, so I have a few questions so far, but leave any more questions you have in the comments. But every year for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, Etsy incentivizes sellers to run a sale to attract more buyers. I honestly cannot remember the minimum percentage, but I think it's 10%. Like, they encourage you to have a sale of at least 10%. You don't have to participate in this, but it's a little bit better if you do because people are looking for deals this time of year and want to save a little bit money. I don't remember exactly what the minimum percentage is. I think they want you to have a sale of at least 10% off because people love sales even if they're not actually saving any money. So here's how you can run a sale and not lose profit if you haven't already calculated a margin for running a sale in your pricing, which I would suggest you do. This is basically a fast and easy way to do that without recalculating your entire pricing strategy, okay? I feel like this is one of those things that's like what feels illegal but really isn't. So what you're gonna do, if you want, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just saying if you want to do this, take your price, whatever your item is, do this for each different price point that you have, and multiply that by 1.1. So that's 10% extra, okay? Then you change your price to that number. Then when you run a sale for 10% off, or change that to 1.15 for 15% off, whatever, and when you run the sale, it's pretty much the same. Like, the math doesn't work out exactly, but it's pretty close to basically your normal price, but still on sale. This is not illegal, I swear. Retail stores have been doing this since the dawn of time because customers only see the sale percentage and think it's a great deal. So just like with that free shipping psychology, I suppose you could call it, people would rather pay like $30 for an item with free shipping versus $25 and $5 shipping for the same thing. So, and to go along with this, this is for the shops who may have trouble like keeping up with orders around this time of year. This is actually the biggest mistake that I made with selling masks last year. If you're getting so many orders that you can't keep up, start raising those prices, my dudes. So the extra cost for the product, like, even, I'm not saying like double your prices or anything, but you know, like an extra $1 here and there, like bump it up $1. If you're still getting a bunch of sales, keep bumping it up, because you may lose a few sales by increasing the price, but you're going to get more profit on the ones that you can physically make. Like, I would only do this if you are like at your max like capacity of orders. I just didn't want to do this with my masks because I know a few shops that were able to, like, selling like crazy, and they were able to almost double their prices like gradually and were still selling more than they could make. But I just felt icky, but I would not feel bad at all for doing that with anything else. I'll talk about this more in my pricing video, but I believe a lot of people are scared to raise prices. They think they're like being dishonest or whatever, but that's not the case. So moving on, number 6 is to pre-schedule or pre-plan your social media and marketing emails. So listen, I've gotten myself neck deep in mean comments about this on TikTok, but I stand by it, especially during the holidays. Most shops that pull decent sales from Etsy already wouldn't need to post on social media to get even more sales, just because of how the Etsy algorithm works. But there's a big but here. If you already have a following and they're engaged with your posts, they're frequent buyers, don't leave that money on the table, you know? So if that's you, if you are getting sales on Etsy and you have social media followers that are kind of in tune with your shop and are supportive and actually buying things, then you'll want to schedule or at least pre-plan your posts for the next month, 2 months, the rest of the year if possible. So my strategy with this is to have at least a few posts a week, like pre-scheduled, ready to go. And then on the other days, leave room for candid photos or videos like packing orders, restocks, or things that really can't be pre-scheduled. That way, if you don't have time to make those candid shots, and at least you have something. But the way I see this on the flip side, because I've been there, if you don't have much of a following already and you don't get many sales on Etsy, and you use all of your time trying to grow your social media and not much time on Etsy itself, it's a losing battle. Because in this situation, I think it's best to focus on Etsy first, especially leading up to the holidays. But any other time of the year, yeah, focus on social media first. Your time is better spent if you're in that second situation where you don't have many sales on Etsy or many followers already, by growing your Etsy shop first, because it's easier to get organic sales on Etsy than it is through social media if you don't already have a following. And likely if you don't already have a following, you may not be as effective as marketing your business on social media. But again, everybody's different, so that's just the way I've seen it, because I've been on both sides of this equation. Like, I started out with no Etsy sales and no social media followers, and I found it easier to get Etsy sales first and then social media followers. But now I can kind of balance both because I'm getting traction on both. So again, it depends. Growing on Etsy is sort of a chain reaction, and the algorithm prefers sales from inside of Etsy. Making sales from social media isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's what I'm trying to, like, social media is not bad, it just doesn't boost your sales as much within the Etsy algorithm. Of course, if you make a sale from social media, you get the revenue from that, and you maybe get a review and likely a repeat customer if they already follow you because they're more interested in you and your products. It's just less likely to result in that chain reaction from Etsy. And then emails, I didn't forget, okay? So marketing emails. If you already have an email list, awesome, that's great, keep at it. But if you don't, I would highly encourage you to start one before the holiday season. I can make a separate video about this as well, but I use MailChimp and it's totally free under so many subscribers and so many monthly email sends. I honestly don't know the numbers right now, but I use their platform to make my own landing page and it works great so far. Email marketing is such an underrated and underappreciated tool for small businesses and Etsy shops specifically. If you'll notice, if you visit a shop that has lots and lots of sales, not only, like I mentioned in other videos, they probably have a lot of listings, like well over 100 listings, but I'll bet they also have an email marketing list. So I think one email subscriber is worth at least 100 social media followers, if not 1,000. Because if you post on social media, I'm sure you're aware that only a fraction of your audience actually gets shown your post. So like if you have 100 followers on social media, maybe 10 of them will see your post, if that. But if you send emails, they go directly to each of your subscribers. Just something to keep in mind there. And now for my bonus tip, be kind to yourself. The holidays are stressful and everyone is like, oh, be nice to retail workers, but you are the retail worker and the crafter and the accountant and the shipping department. We all want to make as much money as we can, but it's also okay to take a break. Some of us go 12 hours a day, 7 days a week during the holidays, but maybe try 12 hours on the weekdays and 6 hours on the weekend. But seriously though, don't be afraid to ask for help if you have someone in your house or maybe someone who could safely come help you if you need it. Or you can also go on vacation mode for a day or so to catch up if you get way too many. I didn't have that problem last holiday, but I am manifesting it for this year and for good sales for you as well. The holidays are the perfect opportunity to launch yourself into success for next year because the holidays bring a new group of people who wouldn't normally come to Etsy, so these could be obviously more sales, new people who could follow you on social media or join your email list, and then they could also become repeat customers, so no pressure. If you have any more tips on a successful holiday season on Etsy, let us know in the comments. And if you want more Etsy tips and small business advice in general, then I would suggest subscribing and clicking the notification bell so you don't miss my new videos. I also post on Instagram and TikTok at Type9 Studio as well. I'm filming this on the same day as my last video where I talked about the Star Seller program. I mentioned at the end of that video that I was about to hit 100 subscribers, but I hit 100 while I was filming it. So thank you so much for subscribing. That is unreal that it's been less than a month since I posted my first video on here. That is like unheard of for a brand new channel. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I like TikTok and Instagram, but I have a lot more room to explain things on YouTube and I can do vlogs and stuff. I'm going to start one. I think my next video might be a vlog if I remember right. Maybe it's the pricing video. We will see. That is it for me today. I will see you in my next video and in the comments. Bye.